Nye Davis coming to you today with a little bit of a devotion for those of you that are joining us from K-Life. We love you and we're glad you joined us. Today I want to talk about spiritual warfare and how that we make it complicated, but it's really pretty simple. I say that because at one point I was asked to speak about spiritual warfare, and quite honestly, I thought to myself, I don't know that I'm equipped to talk about this because I'm more of a worshiper than a warrior. And the Lord began to show me some key elements that changed my mind. One being that while I was thinking about how to speak on this subject, I was at a pastor's home and they were all fellowshipping. We were having a big old dinner and the guys were all hanging out and they were watching a show, some kind of a movie. I don't even remember the name of the movie, but it was kind of one of those soldier movies. And in the movie itself, I just walked in on a scene, and the scene was the soldiers were extracting a bunch of people out of a jungle. And while they were walking through the jungle, they were ambushed by the enemy. And all of a sudden there was all sorts of confusion. There was all sorts of screaming and crying and all sorts of things that, quite honestly, I started to think to myself, I wonder how that they kept their brains about themselves. But right in the middle of this chaos, these soldiers, they lined up in a formation and they retreated out of the jungle, and the front guy would shoot at the enemy, and then after so many seconds he'd run to the back of the line, and they kept retreating that way. And I thought to myself, how do they keep the presence of mind in the middle of that battle to do what they're doing? I mean, I honestly, if people were screaming and crying and carrying on like that, all that was happening in that movie, I know it was just a movie, but I just was thinking about it. How do they keep that presence of mind? And the Lord began to speak. He said they go to boot camp. Before they ever get in the battle, they're in a boot camp and they get trained and they get issued a weapon and they eat with that weapon. They sleep with that weapon. They train with that weapon. They're in the heat with that weapon. They're in the cold with that weapon. And they learn to automatically do something. It becomes second nature. And the Lord said that weapon, your weapon, the weapon of your warfare is not carnal. It is worship. So when you are in times of peace, you should exercise your worship. You should do everything with your worship. You should speak it in the cold, in the hot, in the hard times, in the good times. And it becomes an automatic thing. Practice praise in times of peace, my friend, and you will find that you will be able to beat the devil at his own game. You'll be able to take him out with your worship. This is Nye Davis again for K-Life. I'm so glad you joined me today.